All right. Let's prop the mic. Presented by Props.cash. Live, I hope. We think. Not sure. I guess you'll let us know shortly. It looks like, I see some stuff popping up on X here. So I think we're good. I see a live sign. How's it going, Dave? You excited?
Yeah, I am. I don't know why this is any different than us recording, but just the fact that it's live TV here, I guess adds a little element to it. I don't know. That's pretty cool,
I
right?
guess so. Yeah, it is. We don't really edit. We really just record and then just process it and post. Just cut out the middleman here and let's just go live. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, that is the cool thing. We'll get the pods up much faster doing it this way. So let's see how today goes. I'm excited. We're changing up the format. So if you follow the pod, usually our big NFL show is on Fridays. We like to get it out on Fridays so that you can get those picks in before the lines start changing over the weekend, right? Really good value on Fridays for NFL. We've done great so far. We're up 50-something units on the year. Going to continue that this week. But typically we find like our 5 or 6 games that we like that have really good matchups from offensive and defensive line perspectives, right? And then we attack those. We deep dive into those, talk about the lines, the spreads. Today we said let's change it up. Tom, you find your 10 favorite picks for the week.
Yes.
All games on Sunday. Dave will find his 10 favorite picks. We're going head to head. We did this for the season long picks. That worked out well. Let's try it today. What do you think?
Yeah, it's always fun to add another level of competition to things. So now we got, we should just note that we had our, it was one of the best early nights in the history of PTM where we did this. We did 5-5 for NBA early February, and we ran the table and went 10-0, and that gave PTM a nice jump start there. So let's see if we can repeat that here this weekend.
Yeah, we've been aspiring to repeat that for a long time. Hitting 10 picks in one day. I've only done it twice in my life. Once was a baseball parlay last season, and the other was this one. So
yeah.
All right. So you ready to jump in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So big slate. I'm excited. There's some really good matchups this week. So
yeah.
Why don't you kick it off and give me your first pick of the week?
All right. Here we go. First pick, let's make it a nice, easy one. Christian McCaffrey. Doesn't get better than McCaffrey there. Some of the easiest props to cash here. So I love the matchup for receiving running backs against Jacksonville is by far number one. It's like most targets allowed, most receptions allowed. So his line's 30.5 receiving yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. He's cleared this in 4 of his last 6.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's This is what we're talking about in terms of value. We got a 2-yard difference between FanDuel and DraftKings, and typically, sorry to interrupt your flow a little bit, but typically FanDuel will be better value on Fridays is what we're finding. So this should come up to 32 across all the books, but you can get it at 30.5, right? Which is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. 30.5 on FanDuel. That's what I got it for here. So not too much more to be said. I think, San Francisco, what is it, 3 losses in a row now? They're going to be looking for with not an easy game against Jacksonville. So they're going to need McCaffrey here. I think 30 receiving yards, even if it's 32, I think that's still good. This is, I love this.
Yeah, and I didn't look at the injury report, but it does look like Brock Purdy will play based on the fact that it's a line out for him. So
yes, yeah.
So sometimes the prop market is a better indicator of player injuries than
for sure,
than the actual injury reports themselves. So
yeah.
All right, cool. I like that. I have no picks in that game. You have any more in that game?
I'm not sure.
San Fran, Jacksonville.
So. No.
Okay. No. The only comment I'll make is, San Fran or Jacksonville unders on the passing game were popping, but that's a season long view. If you look actually at the last couple of weeks, quarterbacks have been bombing on San Francisco. So
yeah,
I don't know if that'll happen this week, but I looked at an under on Lawrence and I passed on that one. So that does not count as a pick for me.
okay, all right. Let's see your
All right.
real pick then.
Oh man, where do I start? All right, I'm going with we started the season off with this guy and we'll go back to him. I'm going with Jared Goff over 33.5 pass attempts.
That's one that we doubled up there. So
all right,
that'll tell you something. We were both on this one. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me get Goff up. All right, so it looks like yes, some of the books have it at 33.5. Yeah, DraftKings still has it at 33.5, minus 105. 3 for 4 away, which I liked. And he's averaging 40 pass attempts, I believe, when he's away. Let's zoom in on this season, right? So look at those 4 away games that he's had. Totally crushing there. 5 for 8 overall in the season, which I think is pretty good. And then if you look the last 3 that he's played, look at these last 3. 44, 53, and 37, right?
Yep.
So some really nice numbers there. This was mostly based on the fact that the Chargers defense is just atrocious in defending the passing game, right? Worst team in the league. They're giving up, 286 passing yards per game. Their defensive line is a bit of a mess in terms of defending. Also, look at some of these opposing quarterbacks. If we go on props.cash down to opposing quarterbacks and we're on pass attempts, Zach Wilson, your boy Zach Wilson, had 49 pass attempts against the Chargers. Tyson Bagent, 37 passing attempts. Patrick Mahomes, the only decent quarterback that we've talked about so far, 42 pass attempts. Dak Prescott, of course, was the one who broke the trend at 30. And then we go 2 weeks back. Aiden O'Connell, another backup, 39 pass attempts. Kirk Cousins, 50 pass attempts. What are we doing here? This line should be 45.
Yeah.
This is crazy. So I think he could easily have over 40 pass attempts in this game. Minus 120, minus 130. Take it, whatever you can get, even at minus 105. It's all good.
Yeah.
You like that one?
Yeah, I love it. It was one of my 10 picks here. Basically, so as we're week 10 now, so I like to go and look to see, the type of trend where it's like, what is a defense average, or what have quarterbacks averaged against this defense over the last 3 games, the last 5 weeks, the last 7 weeks, because now you have a bigger sample size here. No matter what season segment you look at, the Chargers have allowed the most pass attempts over any split, any season segment. So I love this.
Yeah. You have anything else in this game? If not, I'm gonna stay here and give my second pick.
This is
Detroit.
I have more in this game.
All right. So why don't you go? Give us anything on the Detroit side?
Yes.
Okay, go for it. Give us your Detroit pick.
Are we doubled up again?
We might be. Let's see.
St. Brown?
No. I said Goff is going to get 35 to 40 pass attempts probably. There's got to be somebody on the receiving side who's got good value. I looked at St. Brown. I think he does have good value. I went with somebody else. So you go with St. Brown first, and then we'll go to my pick.
My pick, I'm on Ross St. Brown, over 83.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on DK. He's cleared this in 5 of his last 6 games, averaging 99 receiving yards over his last 6 games. Garrett Wilson managed to get 80 receiving yards with Zach Wilson throwing him the ball last week. Travis Kelce had 179 receiving yards. CeeDee Lamb, 117. Devontae Adams, similar situation to Garrett Wilson. He had 75 receiving yards with Jimmy G throwing him the ball. So I think if he had a better quarterback, that number would also be higher. Justin Jefferson, 149. Tyreek Hill, 215 receiving yards against the Chargers here. So, let's go with St. Brown over 83.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer. That's that. I don't know why I didn't see that. I think I was looking at his receptions.
6.5 is high. I looked at it too. Yeah,
he's always like a 6 reception guy. So 6.5 seemed a little high. I do like his receiving yards. I bet his longest reception is probably decent too. Oh, that's pretty high actually. So I like that, and I would contemplate putting him up to 100 receiving yards in this game as well.
For sure. Yeah.
That's got to be over plus 200. So I think that's a good one.
All right, now give me your Sam Laporta pick.
Yeah, you knew it. You knew it. I got a thing for tight ends, man. I think that they just I don't know. The quarterbacks just love going to the tight ends. I mean, they like their safety valve. So I was debating between receiving yards and receptions. I went with receptions, 4.5 receptions. Where are we at now? Minus 130 on DK earlier today. Yeah, it was actually around there too. He's done this in 5 out of 8 games this season. I just liked even what I saw recently on his targets. Look at the last 3 games: 11 targets, 7 targets, and 10 targets. Right.
Yep.
So Goff loves going to him. And I'm trying to remember. This is what sealed it for me. Look at the last 5 weeks against the Chargers. Conklin 6 receptions, Kmet 10 receptions, Kelsey 12 receptions. Ferguson, again, the Cowboys had a down game clearly there. Hawkinson 8 receptions. So yeah, tight ends are just crushing opponents. The Chargers. So I think that's a good play right there.
Very nice.
All right. So I would even consider putting all 3 of those together in some sort of parlay. Goff pass attempts, St. Brown receiving yards, and Laporta receptions.
All right, now we're talking.
All right, let's go back to you. What do you got? What's the next game you're on?
Next game, let's just go back to the top here so we don't miss any. All right, who's it? The Pats and the Colts. I got to pick from that game. All right,
that's the morning game, isn't it? Isn't that the Frankfurt series? I think.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah,
it is. All right. Ramondre Stevenson over 69.5 rush plus receiving yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. So I like this for a few reasons here. Indianapolis, 6th most targets to running backs this season. That's the season as a whole. They've allowed the 3rd most over the last 5 weeks. So it's been increasing here. Stevenson has had 22 targets and 17 receptions over his last 4 games. So he's really been a heavy part of the passing game here. If you look at the list of the comps, look at you'll have to switch over to either rush or receiving. Just go to receiving yards and look at running backs.
I mean, that seems to be where he's doing most of his damage. Opposing
running backs, yeah. Did I lose you, Dave?
Games here.
There we go. Back? I lost you there for a sec. Yeah.
Right. No, it's all good. We might have both been talking at the same time, but it's all good.
Yeah. So, I think he's in a nice matchup here for receiving wise. You see what he's done over the last 4 games. Very nice. And then click over to his rush yards.
Mm-hmm.
There. And he had a nice big output last week. What I like about this, though, is over the last 4 weeks, the Colts have allowed the 2nd most yards before contact to running backs and the 3rd most yards after contact and the 3rd most yards per attempt. So just recently, over the last 4 weeks, a lot of targets to running backs against Indianapolis. A lot of good advanced metrics here in terms of rushing against the Colts. So I think this shapes up nicely for Stevenson here to get over 70 rush and receiving.
Yeah, I like that. I think I'm thinking back to last week's Frankfurt game, which was a fun game, especially if you're a Chiefs fan like myself. Mm-hmm. But it was the worst game that we had all week, right? It was the only game I think that we lost units on. So my recommendation is for this game, try to find 1, max 2 plays. This is a really good one. Play it and just relax and wait for the for the rest of the games because it's a weird environment, playing abroad and everything. So,
for sure.
All right. Did you have anything else in this game?
This game, no.
All right. Back to me. I'm moving to the Tennessee Tampa Bay game. I wonder if you got a pick there. You got a pick or two there? Excellent. That's good. I mean, to be transparent with everybody, we don't talk about this stuff. Occasionally we'll text about a pick here and there, but this is completely independent thought process. So who do I start with? I'm going with the rookie, Will Levis. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. His line was 219 and a half passing yards earlier today. Looks like that's come up to 220 and a half. I still like it there. He had 238 versus Atlanta, 262 versus Pittsburgh. 4 straight quarterbacks have cleared their line against Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay's got a pretty good rush defense, but not a very good pass defense, right? They're actually just behind the Chargers, who we talked about. So again, you can see why Tom and I are both on some of these same picks. Look at this. CJ Stroud had 470 yards against Tampa Bay last week. Josh Allen, 324 the week before that. Even Desmond Ridder, who, typically he might be bottom 3 quarterback in the league, 250. Goff, our guy we were just talking about, 353. Of course, Derek Carr had to mess this whole thing up with 127. He might have been hurt in that game or something. And then Jalen Hurts had 277. So all these guys have absolutely crushed against Tampa Bay. Even a rookie, I think, is going to go over his line. I think 220 is way too low for this spot. Did you have this guy?
I did. Had the same play.
All right, that's good.
I had it at 217. So obviously it's been bet up there. But I love this. I think I've bet on the opposing whatever quarterback's opposing Tampa Bay almost every week so far this season, and it's been very profitable. They've allowed the most air yards per attempt over the last 5 weeks. They've allowed the highest quarterback rating over the last 5 weeks at 117.5. Number 2 is Atlanta at 107. So it's not even tight there. It's that's significantly more than the second place team there. And also the third most pass attempts allowed over the last 5 weeks. Quarterbacks have just been feasting against Tampa Bay. We cashed big time on CJ last week against them. I don't see why Will Levis can't do the same here. That line's too low, I think.
Yeah, I would even sprinkle something on 250 for him, which has got to be probably plus 150 or more. It might be more.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good play as well, considering he's done it. He just did it last week. All right. Any other picks from this game you want to cover?
No.
Oh, come on. Well, he's got to be throwing the ball to somebody. So I actually got a couple more from this game. So I'm probably going to run through a few of my picks here. Okay. I like both running backs in the receiving game here. Let's start with Spears. So he's inconsistent in terms of the receiving yards, but in terms of receptions, he's been pretty solid. Look at that. So you get 2.5 receptions for Spears at plus 110. So he's done that in the last 5 of 6 games. And what I liked about the 2 games where Levis started, look at the targets, right? He had 4 targets and 6 targets. So, and even before that, when it was Tannehill, he was getting lots of looks in the passing game. So they were mixing him into the running game a bit, but it seems like they're going to position him more as a receiving back. So I think for him to get 3 receptions and getting plus money, plus 110, I think is a pretty good deal. If you're worried about 3 receptions, I think going down to 2 receptions and then putting it as part of a parlay is also nice. So that's Spears. Any comments on that?
I would just say that over the last 5 weeks, Tampa Bay is dead last in receptions and targets to opposing running backs. So just something to note there. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Not like dead last over the last 4 weeks. So
nice. I was debating between him and Henry. I think if you're going to play Henry instead of Spears, I would go with the receiving yards. He tends to get a lower volume of targets, but when he gets there, I mean, you guys, if you've ever watched Derrick Henry play, once he gets the ball, takes 5 guys to tackle him. So 13.5 receiving yards seemed like a pretty good play there as well at -114. So that's another angle you can go. The last play I had in this game was actually DeAndre Hopkins, which is the long ball threat in this game. I like his longest reception at 23 and a half. It was, oh yeah, you can get it for 22 and a half still on FanDuel at -114. 2 games with Levis, 61 and 29. And even before that, he's hit this in 5 of his last 6 games. So I think that's a really good option in a game where we could see close to 300 passing yards just from Levis. Thoughts?
Yeah, I like that. I did look at Hopkins. I almost landed on a play for him. It was between longest reception and then just his yards overall, but didn't end up going there. But yeah, definitely something I was interested in.
Yeah, I went with the longest because, he is getting up there on the yards, but if you look, the total receptions that he's getting is pretty low, right? He's around that 4 reception mark. So yeah, I kind of was a little concerned about him going over the 60 and a half. And I thought, him just getting one long one will probably pan out. So, yeah. All right, enough of me talking. Back to you. What do you like?
All right, let's go to. I got a couple picks from Seattle, Washington. Let's go there.
Okay. That seems like a good matchup to take advantage of.
Yeah. Let's go to our boy Geno Smith. I like his pass attempts, 32.5 pass attempts, -130 on DK. Every single quarterback to play Washington, except Josh Allen, has cleared their pass attempt line so far this season.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah. And not everyone obviously got to 33 pass attempts because their lines were lower. But, I mean, the lowest that anyone's had is 29 with Jordan Love and Tyrod Taylor, 29 pass attempts each. So I think somebody who's a little bit more pass happy, like Geno here, I think can easily get to 33. Washington has allowed the most pass attempts to opposing quarterbacks over the last 4 weeks. So nice trend there recently. What do you think?
Look at all that green. I mean, Mac Jones had 44 pass attempts, right?
Yeah.
He's not a great Desmond Ridder. We were just talking about 47 pass attempts. Look at that. Yep. This is crazy. Yep. It's insane that the only quarterback that didn't surpass it was Josh Allen, right? That's probably the best one on the list. Yeah, I love that play. I didn't see it earlier, so I'm glad you're pointing that one out. Looks really good. All right, what else in this game?
I had here on the Washington side. I like Brian Robinson rushing yards. It's over 43.5 rush yards, -114 on FanDuel. So the reason I'm very much into this here, over the last 5 weeks, Seattle has allowed the most rush yards per attempt, the most rush yards before contact, and the most rush yards after contact. Brian Robinson has cleared this in 6 of his last 9. Nice recent trend, last 2 games, 63 and 59. And then if you look at some of those guys, Gus Edwards had 52, Kareem Hunt 55. A lot of I don't need to read through all of them. So a lot of nice overs there. Not like monster running games, but enough to get 44 plus rushing yards here for Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I like that. And look at his rush attempts last week too. 18 rush attempts last week. Yeah. So I think it's going to come down to how many carries he gets. I think if this game's a blowout and Seattle's winning by 2 touchdowns, this one might be hard to cash on, but something tells me this one will be a little closer than that. So okay.
I think so too.
Yeah, I like that play. All right, cool. Anything else from this game?
Nope.
All right, let's go to Green Bay, Pittsburgh. You got anything here?
I don't. I was sniffing around that game all morning, a few different angles. So I'm very curious to see what you landed on, because I definitely have a few plays I was interested in, but nothing that ultimately made the cut.
Lots of options in this game. I don't know if this will be a great game to watch, but I do think it could be a good game to bet on. So let me just rehash a pick we put out on X this morning, just because we were so excited to share this trend. Jordan Love over it was 212 passing yards. It looks like it's up to 213.5. But again, the advice that we gave out this morning on this is look at his first and second half splits. first half of every game this season, he is maxed out at 81 passing yards, and he's averaging 64.5 passing yards. That is insane. Look at his second half. Second half of the game,
amazing.
He is reached as high as 201 passing yards in that Detroit game. He's averaging 151.4. So again, I like this play. I think he'll cash over 212 by itself. But I would almost say, why would we even place this bet before the game starts? Wait until halftime. I'm projecting that if he kind of holds this trend, that 212 or 213 that you would need to place pregame, that'll be more like 171. And he'll only need to hit 106 passing yards in the second half. At that point, if you look, he's cleared 106 passing yards in every game in the second half, except for the second game of the season against Atlanta. So a live play here for Jordan Love. All right.
Love it. Yep. Very nice.
All right. Then I also was kind of looking at his receivers. This is probably my least favorite play, but I don't know. I kind of like Dontavian Wicks. I think he might be the fourth receiver on the team.
That's the problem. You know, I like a few of these guys, but like I don't know who. There's not like a primary. There's not a wide receiver one. I don't know. There's a lot of different options, and that scares me. But go ahead.
Yeah, same deal. 12.5 receiving yards on DraftKings. It's as high as 15.5 on PointsBet. I just like the consistency. He doesn't get a lot of targets, right? If you look, he got a couple weeks where he only had one target. But the last 2 weeks, what I liked is he had 4 targets in each of the last 2 weeks. If you look at his longest reception, 17, 17, and 18 in the last 3 weeks. So he'll basically, my projection is he needs one catch in this game to clear this line, because I think he's one of the long ball threats for them. I think he's good for like a 15+ yard catch in this game. So I don't think his longest, it wasn't out earlier. His longest reception at 10.5 might even be a better play. 10.5 minus 115, because again, I don't think he's going to get a lot of volume. Maybe get 3 or 4 targets. So either way, 12.5 receiving yards or 10.5 longest reception. I also was looking at his first half, second half splits. Look at this. He does like nothing in the first half, right? He's got 8 yards, 29 yards, and 9 yards. And the second half, look at that. His second half chart almost mirrors his full game chart.
Yeah.
So again, if you want to wait till halftime and play, you could probably get this 12.5 all the way down to like 7.5 at halftime. But I don't know if it's worth it, because all he needs is one catch probably. So he's the guy that Love, when he starts getting going, is going to. So I like it. I think it's a good play.
I think I was looking at his receptions. Isn't that?
Yeah, his receptions were 1.5. I think. Yeah, they're still at 1.5 plus money too. So if you feel like he's going to get more than 3 or 4 targets, then that's probably also another good play at as high as plus 130 on DraftKings.
Oh, no, maybe it wasn't him. It was Jaden Reed. That's who it was.
Yeah, Jaden Reed.
He's cleared those 2.5 receptions in like 6 straight weeks or something.
Yeah.
All right.
I got one more.
Like that. Okay.
One more play in this game, but on the other side, our guy Proptology is not going to like this play. Kenny Pickett under. Now I got 2 options for you. I'm going to need your help on this one. Under pass attempt, under pass completions. So look at his. Let's start with the completions. 20.5 pass completions. He's done it once at the beginning of the season, and he hasn't done it since. Green Bay. I don't think Green Bay has the best defensive pass rush metrics, but their passing yards that they're giving up is pretty low, and the pass attempts is the 7th lowest in the league. So I think it's a pretty good play. I think the weakness of Green Bay is on the rushing side. So I think Najee Harris is going to get the ball quite a bit in this game. And I think the clock's going to move quickly. I don't think Pickett will get 21 completions. Pass attempts is also pretty good. He's got more or less the same hit rate. He got there in 2 of his 8 games this year. So that was minus 1. One actually you can get it. Yeah, minus 113 is the best you can get it. Which of those two would you go with?
Do I have to pick? I don't
You
know
do
if
have to
I was
pick.
actually leaning more overs in the Pittsburgh passing game here. So I don't know. I'm not as behind this. I don't really want to pick. I don't really want to pick either one.
All right, I'm gonna pick completions. It is. What about this chart screams over? There's a sea of
the chart screams over. Yeah, I hear you. I think
look, a sea of red right here.
Mm-hmm.
Passing yards, 9th fewest passing yards in the league, 7th fewest passing attempts in the league. I know there's some, advanced metrics that are saying Green Bay's line is not as good, but he's not going to get there. So under 21 passing completions. That's my play for Kenny Pickett.
All right.
That's
my chances.
My only underplay of the week. All right, back to you. What do you got next?
All right. Let's go to Minnesota.
Okay.
I like TJ Hawkinson here, over 49.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on DK. Last week with the two replacement quarterbacks between what was his name? Jalen Hall and Dobbs. He had 12 targets for 7 receptions last week. Over the last 4 weeks, New Orleans has allowed the second most yards per reception and yards before reception to tight ends. The last 3 tight ends to play New Orleans: Cole Kmet, 55 yards; Evan Ingram, 45; Schultz, 61. I love those 12 targets he had last week. I think Dobbs will go right back to him again. I think this is a no-brainer.
Is Dobbs starting the game? That's my assumption, considering he came in.
Yeah, Dobbs is starting. Yeah.
He came in. It was pretty. Did you see the video of him? He was basically practicing the snapping with his center on the sideline, in the first quarter.
Time.
Yeah. It's all right. My name is Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah.
But yeah, he played pretty decent. I would assume he's starting. And again, just like we've been talking about, tight ends are the way to go. You have inexperienced quarterback. Not that Dobbs is inexperienced, but inexperienced in this environment. The safest play is to go to your tight end for short passes. I like both the receiving yards. What did you have that at? 48.5?
49.5.
49.5 on DraftKings. And I think the receptions is nice too at 6, right? So I think that's pretty good. Plus 125 on that.
Yeah, I looked at that too. That's nice.
All right. Anything else in this game?
Nope. I think I just have 2 picks left. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You do one more. I'm actually only I only have 1 pick left. So.
Okay. Both of my last 2 picks are from the Atlanta-Arizona game.
Okay. All right. You knock them both out, and we'll finish.
All right.
With a bang.
We gotta get something on Kyler in his first game back here, right? I like his passing yards over 217.5, minus 115 on DK. Look at what teams have done against Atlanta. Will Levis, 238. Baker had 275. CJ Stroud, 249. Jared Goff, 243. Atlanta has a terrible pass rush win rate. It's ranked 30th, and also it's not only just ranked 30th, but it has one of the biggest downward trends on the whole season. Atlanta has allowed the second highest quarterback rating across almost every season segment, every season split that you want to look at. And over the last 5 weeks, they've allowed the 4th longest average pocket time. I think there'll be plenty of time for Murray to throw the ball. I think maybe, they might try to be telling him, let's take it easy on the run game. Let's focus on the passing game coming back from injury here. So I think at 217.5, that's a nice low line for him in his first game back here.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty low. I'm hesitant to play him because I played his rushing yards in the game where he tore up he tore his knee or something, or was it ACL or something? So the last game that Kyler Murray played in, I bet his rushing yards, and that was looking good, and then he just went down very early.
Yeah.
But the kind folks at DraftKings refunded my bet in a generous act, so that was really nice. It makes sense. I think they have decent receiving weapons. I think this is a pretty low line, so I don't feel super confident without having any sort of recent data, but he's had plenty of time to recover. So, and coming in mid-season should be fine. So,
I mean, this is just this is like a play kind of based on his, experience and history, and then also just a real nice matchup against Atlanta defensively here.
Right.
I'm kind of leaning on that side of things. I was looking at his rush yards, because if you scroll down and see what quarterbacks have done against Atlanta rushing, it's not bad. You can see some nice, like Baker, what do you have, 32, Trevor Lawrence 42. So some decent rushing games, but I think I don't know. I'm more confident in the passing yards here this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Kyler Murray will be ripping a few like long runs in this game. So that's probably a good play, unless he's been directed to just throw the ball. So we'll see. But yeah, no, it's a good one, sneaky one. Anything else in this game? You said you had one more.
Yeah, one more on the Atlanta side. So I like Jonnu Smith over 2.5 receptions, -140 on DK. He's cleared this in 7 of his last 8 games, averaging 4.3 receptions. He had 5 receptions on 6 targets for 100 yards in that first game with Heineke last week. I think Heineke goes right back to him. It's a nice matchup for him. He only needs 3 receptions. It's not a problem.
It's not a problem. Look at it. Look at this guy when he, historically when he gets like 4 targets, he's got. Look at that hit rate.
Look at that.
Right. Love these tight ends, man. This is a tight end show here. It's like,
yeah,
they like their efficiency in catching the ball is so amazing. It's like you throw the ball, they all catch like 80% rate. It's great. Yeah, I like that play. I didn't even know Jonnu Smith was on Atlanta, because what is he? He's the backup tight end there. Is that what?
Yeah,
right?
tight end too. Yeah.
Behind
Pitts. But he plays a decent amount. I was looking at Pitts too, because it's a nice matchup for tight ends here. So I looked at Pitts, but I just thought those 3 receptions for Smith just seemed too easy.
Yeah, it seems low. I mean, if you look, like you said, he was on the field for 39 snaps, 40-something snaps, 30-something snaps, 40-something snaps. So he's out there probably predominantly for blocking, but he'll free up and get the 3 catches. I like that a lot. That's a good one.
Nice.
All right. Being that we're from New York, had to go and find a pick for the Giants Cowboys game, right?
Yeah. What do you got?
My Giants friends aren't going to be happy with this one. So I liked CeeDee Lamb in this game.
Okay.
It's not a great matchup. So let's just throw out the line matchups and everything. The Giants are actually holding teams to 211 passing yards this season. So that's like the one aspect of their defense that is pretty good. Their rush defense is really their bigger weakness. But this upward trend on CeeDee Lamb cannot be ignored, right? You're talking about his last 3 weeks: 117 yards, 158, and 191. He also has a really good history against the Giants as well. He's cleared in 3 of 5 games against the Giants. His line earlier today, when I was writing it down, it's still there. 77.5. I wish it was 76.5, so we can get that extra game under there, that last game. But again, that game was a blowout. Remember, that was early in the season of this year, where he had 77 receiving yards. So I think that's a really good play. I also think putting him at 100 receiving yards is a nice play as well, considering he's crushed that the last 3 weeks. 100 receiving yards for CeeDee Lamb is plus 200. And now the wheels are spinning in my head. I'm thinking Amon St. Brown 100 plus a CeeDee Lamb 100 might be a really nice parlay. You'll get probably 2 plus 200 legs together.
Nice.
Could give you some really good results. We've hit on those earlier this season. What else?
Very nice.
What else? I think his longest reception might even be better. So that's an option as well. If you look at his hit rate for receiving yards this season, is only 4 out of 8 games, but his longest reception is 6 out of 8 games. So again, he's a long ball threat. He's the primary deep ball guy for Dak. So I don't know. You got an opinion of longest reception versus total yards?
I think they're both good. I do like. I'm looking here of the teams playing on Sunday. The Giants are number 1 this season in yards after catch to wide receivers. So I think that's shapes up pretty nicely for CD there. 25 and a half longest reception. I kind of lean the I'm just in general lean just the total yards instead of the one the long. So that would be my choice. But I know you like those longs.
I do for low target kind of guys, right? So guys like Hopkins who are, only getting like 4 receptions and maybe 6 targets or something like that. I think that makes sense. But look at the volume for CeeDee Lamb the last 2 weeks: 14 targets and 16 targets. Right? The volume is just through the roof. They finally realized that like they're not going to win unless they target utilize their best receiving weapon. So I think that's good. That's my pick on the Cowboys side. I have an unofficial pick. I think Tommy DeVito, the quarterback of the Giants, any sort of negative play you can put on him, I think is probably good. You can get an interception for like -200, so throw that into any parlay you want. He's definitely throwing a pick in this game. And then under pass completions, I think is also really good whenever that comes out. It wasn't available earlier. Still not available, but remember, look at Dallas pass completions. They only gave up 17 to Jalen Hurts last week, 13 to Stafford. The list just goes on and on. Not a single quarterback against Dallas has passed their completions line. Only one quarterback has more than 20, which was Justin Herbert. This is probably the worst quarterback that's played them this year. So anything you can do under on him, I think is probably good.
Yeah, I don't think Tommy DeVito will be the first one to break that streak there.
I don't think so.
Little trivia. Do you know that Joe Pesci's character from Goodfellas, his name is Tommy DeVito?
No. I know Danny DeVito.
We all know Danny DeVito.
Big fan of Danny DeVito.
All right.
Cool. All right. So that's should be about 20 picks in there. So and maybe a few bonus. So I think that was fun.
So yeah, that was. We'll see who comes out on top, 10 apiece. See who emerges victorious on Sunday afternoon. But nice work. We'll post a few of these up on X. Hopefully, some of you guys were able to check out the live pod today. Give us some feedback. Let us know if you liked it, and we'll check it out. Make sure everything worked out well. But this was fun. Well, I think we'll have to try it again. But nice work, and let's make some money this weekend.